Hey guys, it's Taylor back with Life with Taylor, and today we're gonna be reading some more Reddit passages. So, let's get into it. While I was looking through two different, pages, I was seeing some crazy things. People confess a lot. They also get a lot of petty revenge, which are two of the pages we're going to be checking out today. I've picked out 6 stories, and there's a juicy one at the end. So, first up, my neighbor's dog ruined my sleep, so I used it to ruin his. Every night from midnight to 3 a.m., his dog would bark non-stop right outside my bedroom. Deep, loud, echoing barks, like he was announcing the end of the world. I asked my neighbor twice to bring the dog in. Both times he brushed it off with a smirk and said, "He's just doing his job." Cool, then I'll do mine. I started recording the barking on my phone. The next morning at 6 a.m., right after my neighbor got home from his night shift, I played it back full volume through a speaker pointed at his wall. I repeated that for 2 mornings. No yelling, no threats, just his own dog giving him a taste of what I'd been dealing with. On day 3, the dog was inside before 10 p.m. Hasn't barked at night since. Sometimes the best revenge is pressing play. That's actually pretty smart. I don't feel like that's petty. I don't feel like that was petty. I feel like your neighbor wasn't listening, so you had to take it into your own hands for you to get good sleep. I can't sleep if there's a dog barking outside my door, so I don't really feel like that's petty. I think that's pretty clever revenge. Careful Blacksmith 8 says, "Wonderfully petty and effective. Love it." Somebody else had said, "I had that problem, so I put my speaker outside on my wall and played 'We Built This City on Rock and Roll' on repeat for 3 hours. Pretty smart. Pretty smart. Next. This is a confession. U-Haul screwed me over, and I got to screw them back because of their mistake. About 15 years ago, I had to rent a small box truck to pull a trailer to Florida from Macon? Is that how you say it? What is GA? Georgia. There's that. Macon, Georgia. Because the truck I was using blew its engine. The clerk ran my debit card and said something like, "That's odd," and he ran it again. Still wasn't right, so he tried another card reader. Didn't work, so he did it again. Still didn't work, and I reassured him there was money in the account to cover the $500 rental. So he went to the last card reader and slid my card through. It didn't work, so he tried it again. Then my card was declined. We used my wife's card, and all was good. When we got to Florida from Macon, Georgia, I went to purchase the fuel before returning the truck, and the pump declined my card. Used wife's card for the fuel and called my bank. They told me I rented 5 trucks, not counting the payment made on my wife's card, and my money was spent. Next call was to the U-Haul people, who had a hard time believing I didn't rent 5 trucks from a location that had only 1 truck like the one we rented on the lot. Finally, they admitted there may have been an error and my money would be refunded by the morning. All was good the next day until U-Haul debited my account $2,500 again. Now with spending, my account couldn't cover the purchase, so I got an overdraft fee from the bank. Back on the phone with U-Haul, got it straightened out, and they took the money again. Plus, the bank took another $35 overdraft fee. I called the bank and got the fees waived after explaining what was going on. The next time the money came back to my account, I moved everything to my PayPal account as I had no place else I could put it quickly. The night, another charge of $2,500 went through. The next day in the mail, I got a letter from U-Haul containing 5 checks for $500 each. I cashed them in at the local check cashing place and used that cash to open a new account at another bank. U-Haul called me and asked me to send the checks back to them as they weren't able to get any money from my ex-bank. I told them I didn't know what they were talking about, and in turn they placed me on a lifetime ban from renting anything from U-Haul. If you go to a different U-Haul, are they really gonna know? Are they really, do they have your picture up and it says, lifetime ban, Kyle Lewinsky. Yeah, that does seem quite complicated. I wonder why the money kept going 3 different times, or 2 different times. Interesting. Yeah, that is, I don't feel like that. they like scammed you, kind of like. And how did they know you got the checks if you didn't say anything? If you're like, what? You sent me checks? I don't know anything about that. Oh, interesting. Kind of confused by the ending part, but let's see what other people are saying. Somebody said, I wonder if the dude at U-Haul was skimming your card. OP said, I had not considered that. I only thought of possible errors in the transaction, but this could be what happened. But I'm banned for life from using them. Sometimes I want to try and rent something just to see what happens. Somebody else replied, doubtful. U-Haul wouldn't have had a record of the multiple transactions in their system, so they most likely would have denied refunds. Also, the transactions would have looked different as they wouldn't have exactly mirrored the original. It was user error compounded by a system that persisted the authorizations. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, that just seems very confusing, very conjumbled up, and I feel like, how would they know if you kept the checks? I don't know, I feel like there's something missing from the plot, or maybe I'm just not understanding. Yeah, probably not the right thing to do, but I don't really feel like they would know if you went to a different U-Haul, if you had a lifetime ban. But, I don't know. Let's read the next one, because that one was kind of confusing. This is under petty revenge. Okay, I wore the most revealing shorts I own because my neighbor's husband got his feelings hurt by his wife talking about me mowing my front yard shirtless. I wore the most revealing shorts I own because my neighbor's husband got his feelings hurt by his wife talking about me. Okay, I think I understand, but let's read. I, 34 male, have been in my current neighborhood now for going on 3 years. For all 3 years, on especially hot days, I have always mowed my yard, usually shirtless and in shorts. I feel like this is a fairly normal thing for most men to do, at least from what I have seen in my neighborhood. We don't have grass to mow, so we just have dirt and rocks and rattlesnakes. But earlier this year, my neighbors directly across from me, couple maybe in their high 30s, have become a bit of a problem. The wife works from home and the husband doesn't. I also work from home, so sometimes I mow during random moments of the day. The wife always makes small talk with me, and we run into each other often when she's doing yard work or on walks around the neighborhood. Fast forward last week, I was mowing around 4 to 5 p.m.-ish and just wrapped up mowing, and his wife was out watering plants, so she came by and we chatted it up. Not much later, her husband pulls up, I say hi, and we chat a bit longer. Then we go our separate ways. Later that night, I get a random DM from this man. No idea how he had my info, and he went on this long rant about how I am a home worker? Is that supposed to be home wrecker? And I need to cover up when mowing my own yard. I told him to kick rocks and stop being an insecure little... To top it all off, the next time I mowed, I ensured that I took it up a notch and wore some revealing shorts to match not wearing a shirt. Pretty petty, lol, but I don't care. I mean, it's your lawn. And especially if it's hot and it's summer, props to you for even going outside during the summer. I don't know where this person lives, but it's difficult in Arizona walking out in the summer because it feels like you're in an oven at 350 degrees. So mowing a lawn, and yeah, maybe bro needs to let his chest hairs air out, but I mean, it's no different than going to a pool. He's just walking around on his property. I feel like the couple's trying to start some drama, but let's see what this comments say. Somebody said, don't miss an opportunity to cool yourself off. Hotly. Lots of tilting your head back and water splashing. Like, I can imagine it. Like a bucket of water, like a hose, and he's just tilting his head back and he's like... And somebody said, oh yes, where do you live again? Somebody said, yep, grab the hose, make it spray upward with your finger, don't use a handle, do it the old school way with your finger, and bask in the rain. Make it look as soft core as possible. So spend some time in the mirror perfecting your perfect hair flip. Maybe throw in a bend and a snap or two. And then somebody said, sounds like his wife is trying to get her grass mowed. Yep. It sounds, it also sounds like, hey, maybe they're just talking. You know, maybe they're just socializing. Maybe they're just having a conversation. Like, nothing's happening, and the husband is like, I don't know, overreacting, but who knows. Let's move on. This is from 3 hours ago. Petty revenge. He robbed an old man. We delivered him straight to the cops. Let's see. This doesn't seem petty. This seems reasonable. There's an old man called Robert in my village who's been a widower for years. He lives alone on a small farm just off the main road with chickens, a few goats, a horse, a garden, and that kind of peaceful life. He's one of those people everyone calls a saint. He never raises his voice, always has biscuits for the kids, and always helps when someone needs something. Okay, so I'm guessing this is like the UK. When I was a kid, I used to spend afternoons at his place with my friends feeding the animals, running around the trees, and drinking juice from those old school glass bottles. One of those friends was David, a kid who named... I would put my glasses on, but I have new glasses coming soon. A kid who came from a rougher background, but was always welcome at the farm, just like the rest of us. Now we're all adults, and David didn't turn out great. He's known for petty crimes, always looking for a quick score. He was motherfucker! He was kicked out of his parents' house more than once, and most people had already cut ties with him, but not Robert. One night a few days ago, David knocked on Robert's door asking for a place to crash. It was cold, and he said he had nowhere else to go. Robert, as always, let him in. He gave him a warm bed for the night. The next morning, he went to the local market to buy Chocapic cereal and something nice to make breakfast for David. But when he came back, he found David rummaging through a drawer where he kept some savings. Even after being asked what he had put in his pocket, David said no and took off. That broke something in me. Me and another friend who also grew up going to that farm tracked him down and pretended we didn't know anything. I offered him a ride and he said yes, as we usually do here. But instead of driving him to the center, we drove him straight to the police station. I explained everything to the cops and they arrested him because he confessed while waiting for Robert to show up. He is now in custody, awaiting trial. I hope justice is served. Robert cried in front of us, not because of the betrayal, but because, in his words, I thought you all had forgotten me. That broke my heart so badly. We had stopped visiting as we grew up and just waving instead of stopping by. That made me realize how much of a piece of shit I am too. So now I'm visiting him at least once a week. He may have been robbed that day, but he also got a reminder. Not all of us turned out like David. Some of us remembered who raised us and helped keep us off the streets and away from temptation when we were kids. I protect what matters always. That is so sad, but that is not petty revenge. That is justice served. You did the right thing, man. That is good karma's coming your way, bro. Let's see what the comments say. Somebody said, you're a good lad. Wait, I gotta fix it. Hold on. Bottle of water. You're a good lad. That's the same voice. I'm just gonna. Okay. You're a good lad. David got what he had coming. OP said, but it still makes me sad. After all, we grew up together. Some of my most nostalgic memories are with him. This hurts me deep, but I did the right thing. You did the right thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you did the right thing. I hope good karma's coming your way. Next, we've got another petty revenge. Neighbor took my parking spot after I shoveled. I poured water in his windshield. It was a cold winter day. 8 inches of snow had fallen the night before, and the wind chill made it feel as if it... Sweet baby Jesus, I'm gonna have a freaking brain aneurysm here. Let me lock in. I'm locking in. It was a cold winter day. 8 inches of snow had fallen the night before, and the wind chill made it feel as if it were in the negatives Fahrenheit. I drive an all-wheel drive SUV, so I have no issues getting out. My wife, on the other hand, drives a Prius, which slides with the smallest amount of moisture on the road. My car was down at the time, so we had to take my wife's car. I spent 45 minutes in the freezing cold shoveling that car so we could get to the store. We were gone for an hour, and when we came back, our neighbor had taken the spot I had shoveled. Our apart complex doesn't have assigned parking, but in the winter it's understood that if you shovel a spot, it's yours. So when I saw his car in the parking spot I had just shoveled, I was pretty pissed. I went inside and filled 2-gallon jugs of water, went back and poured them on his windshield. Rinse and repeat. I must have poured about 10 gallons of water on his car, being how cold it was. It was already freezing by the time I poured the last gallon on it. It sat like that overnight. The next morning, I got to watch as he helplessly tried to scrape all these layers of ice off his windshield. Don't take my goddamn parking spot. Okay, before we read the edits, I think that might be a little petty, but I feel like it was well deserved if it is known in the apartment complex to not take somebody's spot if they've shoveled it. But let's read the edits. Edit 1. You guys need to chill. This isn't r/am I the asshole. I'm not looking for judgment because I already know I am an asshole. The point of this sub is to tell stories of petty revenge. I'd say I was being pretty damn petty. Edit 2. Sorry, I find it so funny people telling me I committed vandalism. No damage was done except for wasting like 5 to 10 minutes of his time. Ever hear of freezing rain? It does the same thing I did to his car. Never does any damage. This was also many years ago and the cops haven't come to arrest me yet. I think I'm good. Yeah, I don't think it counts as vandalism. Let's see. Yeah, it's not destruction. He didn't destroy anything. Yeah, he didn't destroy anything. He was using the natural forces to have revenge on the guy that took his spot. I mean, I feel like that's pretty petty, but I feel like it was well deserved. If it's like well known that you don't take somebody else's parking spot if it's already been shoveled. So I feel like that guy had it coming. Let's see what the comments say. I don't know why I'm doing this for you. We've got some more stories in the comments. So, let's see. Somebody said, my old post on this and a petty revenge. Monday night, we got about a foot of snow. Bit unusual for this area, so most people didn't go into work Tuesday. This means street parking is nearly full with unmoved cars covered in snow. Yesterday afternoon, I head out to pick up a few things. Shoveling out my car from the street parking lot probably took about 15 minutes. Takes a little while to move the 3,000 or so pounds of snow off and from around my car and dig a path through the snowplow's mess. The whole time I have been shoveling snow from my car, there has been a lady waiting to take my spot. While there are maybe 2 or 3 empty spots on the street, all are filled with snow, so I do what I must. I put the snow shovel in my trunk and head back inside. Yeah. Somebody replied, I'll go out and brush off my car and shovel it out during and after storms, even if I don't need to drive anywhere for a day. Somebody else said, I did this even when it wasn't snowing. This guy on my block owns no less than 4 Jeeps. He has an assigned parking spot and garage in the complex. Assigned spots / garages are hard to come by. Still manages to street park 3 Jeeps and take up 3 prime limited street parking spots in front of our court. He will often sit outside and wait / watch for people to leave and take their spots so he can line all his Jeeps up. He is a hoarder. We have elderly people in the court who could benefit from parking close. It's just rude. Once I had finally had the good parking spot right in front. He was just coming down the block to park as I was getting in my car to leave. Obviously he saw me and wanted my spot. He was waiting for it. It was all in that moment I decided I needed to clean out my entire car. Get a garbage bag, clear all the garbage, take in the shovel and snow scraper, organize. He eventually huffed off and parked across the street. I made my 10-minute run to the store and had my spot back after. That's good thinking. Just like doing everything in your ability to make sure that he does not get the parking spot. 4 Jeeps, and he has his own assigned spots and garages. That's just a douchey mood. He's a douche. He needs some bad karma towards him. But, yeah. Here's the best for last. Okay, everybody, lock in. I went to my gym sauna completely naked, and I'm about to do it again. My gym has a sauna that you have to schedule to use, a one-man sauna for 30-minute sessions per person. The sauna is located in a small room, has nice red LED lights, and of course a wooden bench to sit on inside the sauna. Just the other day I went in, locked the room door, and undressed to my boxers, and hopped in the sauna. Also, I don't know how saunas work. Aren't you supposed to like wear a bathing suit or something? Maybe not. I don't know. As I was in there, I realized I didn't bring a plastic bag, and I didn't want to put my nasty sweat-drenched boxers in my gym bag once I was done. So I took them off, set them aside, and was completely nude sitting in the sauna. I was so nervous there were cameras or the door was unlocked and someone would walk in, which neither occurred, thankfully. Am I gross for this? After each use, there are towels provided to clean the sweat off when you are done. What is the difference between my sweat seeping through my boxers versus no boxers, if I'm just going to clean it afterwards anyway? It's so much hassle-free to go nude, and I honestly enjoyed it. I have a session today in 2 minutes, and I think I'll do the same thing again. I don't know what to say, so we're gonna read some comments. Boy. Somebody said, you'd freak out in Europe, LOL. Let's see why. Somebody replied, as a European, I reread this post 3 times looking for what the point is. What weird / unhinged thing did OP do in a sauna room to be so giddy about? Took me way too long to realize that it was the being naked alone in a room. Saunas to me are rooms where you are fully naked with a bunch of strangers and there isn't anything weird about it. At this point, I'm assuming Americans only find it acceptable to be naked in your own house, if even alone in a private room is so edgy as to warrant a post, if said room is in a public space. Yeah, there are saunas that are like large saunas where there's like a bunch of people there and it's like a free-for-all, thing. I guess there's not many in America, maybe only in Europe. I don't know. Haven't looked into it. Not going to. Somebody replied, next time put a towel down. Other asses have been where yours just was. Yes, putting a towel down is good etiquette. Nothing wrong with being nude in a sauna. Yeah, I think that is good etiquette to just put a towel down, even if you are cleaning after yourself. I feel like putting a towel down will limit the amount of sweat going onto the actual seat, making it cleaner. Like, I feel like nothing is perfectly clean and there can always be germs and stuff. And of course, if you're in the nude, sitting on a seat that other people have sat on, you want to make sure there's not a lot of germs. So I feel like putting a towel down would definitely help with that. But yeah, I agree with the European comment. I don't think Americans are very well versed in nude saunas. So I was gonna look something up, but I'm not anymore. Okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Comment down below what you think about all of these. Wait, could you hear that? Ew. Comment down below what you think of all these excerpts. I think the worst petty revenge was probably, I feel like there were confessions and petty revenge stories in here, but I feel like the most petty was probably the U-Haul thing. I don't know why, it just seems very more petty than the other ones that we read. But whoa, zoom out, you can see my entire bed. Anyways, while you're down there commenting, click all the buttons, you know what to do, and I hope you guys have a good day, night, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world doing this, and peace.